So the task was to make a documentary based on one main question. We done it based on a documentary based on how well do you know the meat industry was the main question. We being me, Joe, and Keen in a group of three. We done it based on the meat industry as Joe's family is connected to a butcher or something like that. So it was just easy and it was efficient. It meant that we can get information that's not necessarily open to the public. In terms of how it went, I believe it went okay. We'll start with the analysis stage. So what we done basically, we looked at two documentaries. So they were both Jimmy Savile documentaries, and we basically just analysed it, see if we could use any techniques in our one, see if we can identify what the documentaries are, and also a main conclusion of the comparison of what we thought is better. So this obviously helps because we're comparing two documentaries, two similar but different style documentaries. So that will help us identify what kind of documentaries that are, and also will help us in terms of actually editing documentary, seeing how it flows, what editing techniques we can do. I think this was very beneficial because I previously didn't really watch a lot of documentaries. Like we done a task in lesson, and I couldn't name one documentary that I've watched. So it set it set the scene. It set what documentary basically is. I know it's a pretty common, pretty uh, self-explanatory thing. However, yeah, it set the scene, set me to know what I need to make for a documentary, and as I previously mentioned, it helped with editing techniques. It actually helped me a lot make my documentary flow because I thought back to the documentaries that we watched, the Jimmy Savile ones, and I thought, yeah, okay, I can maybe make that edit that they done, and it also showed me not to overcomplicate like this the text and stuff. So for most of the scenes in my documentary, I just had a black background and with white text, which can be boring. But I just wanted to get the message across. I didn't want there to be any distractions. I just wanted to make sure so say for example I was showing a quote from an animal abuse story or whatever. I wanted it to be focused on that and not like something in the background. So overall, the analyst stage was quite short, but I think it was quite beneficial. I don't think I could have done much better. Maybe the comparison could have been a little bit longer, just comparing every technique they use, stuff like that. But overall, I think that it helped me a lot in my final documentary. We'll move on to research, to planning. This was obviously the chunky bit of it. So the idea generation, as a group, we all sat down and tried to identify, what exactly we're doing. So we had a base idea of meat, but we needed to obviously expand that idea. So that's exactly what we done. We went into the canteen and we just sat there for about an hour just discussing what we're going to be doing. So we asked questions like where we're going to film B-roll, what stats will include. So we in the final documentary we used a lot of quotes to back up our statement. So a lot of animal cruelty quotes supplied by Peter. That helped a lot to obviously justify our point and solidify our point. So that was the first task of the idea generation. We've done a project proposal. So this helped. This bit here helped a lot. Just to know what we're doing on what week, and I followed this very strictly. So yeah, everything here is pinpoint. It helped me identify what I need to know, like what I need to have. So I need, say for example, for filming, we need a camera, tripod, boom mic. It was just easy access. In terms of the pitch presentation, this helped identifying what we're really doing in a documentary. So as you see, for example, who is our target audience? Doing that slide helped us a lot identify our target audience and made sure that we were aware of what our target audience was. One thing I will say is next time I want to be a little bit more involved in this, as I helped with. I think we done it. So I done once like two slides. I done two slides. Keen done two slides. Joe done two slides. I would have preferred it if we all worked on the slides. So like we all done all six. So I think next time, if the next group or next project is in groups, I'd rather we all work on the same slide, like adding a bit of information instead of us doing like two each, just so we all, we're all aware of what exactly we are doing. These are the release forms, obviously, just to get consent. The risk assessment helped, as it would. So we have one for the butchers and one for the general public. We obviously followed these to make sure nothing went wrong, or no cameras were damaged, stuff like that. The recce shots just show where we'd be filming. So we filmed right in front of that butcher's, so we knew it was going to be busy and crowded. And we use these recce shots to identify where we could set up the camera before going there, just to be a little bit more planned. Next time, I do want to try and get some street view ones, so like you can actually see the street instead of like the satellite. So yeah, hopefully next time I remember that to do the actual street view, so I can see like in first person. The production schedule helped that we're in a group, so all three of us have to know when we're filming and when and where. So the production schedule helped a lot. I set that out and we followed it again very strictly. Story structure sheet actually helped a lot. We were referencing this a lot during editing for mainly, but yeah, we even pre-production we were using this. We had it on our phone. We use this quite a lot. Next time, color code. We need to color code this to make it a lot better. The voiceover script was probably the main thing that we had to get right. So me and Joe and a little bit of Keen worked together on this. So Joe done the majority of it, and he basically asked me to proofread it. So like I added a little bit. This just made it easy to follow. Obviously, I sat down in the room and just voice overed all of this in one take, and it just made it nice and organised. Like I wasn't, what do I say now? What do I say next? It was all in order. So that I can't really identify what we could do better next time. I think we done that pretty solid. Again, maybe if we try to cut down on like some of the words, like I know it's good getting information, but maybe over time a lot of information gets a little bit overwhelming. So we could have maybe skinned that down just a little bit. However, overall, I think the voiceover script went very well. And that is it for the planning side of things. We're moving on to the research. Now, the first thing we done was the first ever lesson, I believe, this term, was research into documentary types and what documentary is. So, as I previously mentioned, I had absolutely no clue. Well, I knew what a documentary was, obviously, but I didn't really know how to make one. Or like, I definitely didn't know how to make one. I didn't know how to edit one, how to plan one. I didn't know how to do anything in terms of making a documentary. So researching into documentary types and identifying, okay, this documentary is, for example, poetry. Can't speak. So yeah, it helped a lot identifying what the documentary was. So say, for example, the two Jimmy Savile ones, it helped a lot identifying what they were, just to get the facts going. Overall, it was okay. It was a small task, so it can't really go that wrong. Then we got the research report, which is obviously the chunkiest bit, you could say. So this actually helped quite a lot. I basically spoke about who we're going to interview. So, for example, the butcher here, and I basically just spoke about how it will make it easier to get in contact, what questions we could potentially ask him, and also to remind me to get B-roll footage in the butchers itself, which I used quite a lot of B-roll in the butchers throughout the whole documentary. I even used it at times when the vegetarian was talking, just to get a bit of contrast in there. I also included the address just in case I forgot it. And then also, I won't say it all, the people that think the meat is fake and the people that think meat is real, I just covered these just to get a little bit more information on it. What I can do better next time is definitely identifying more questions to ask these specific people. We kind of just not winged it, but we left it to the last minute to say, okay, what can we actually ask them? So in this research report, I should have identified quickly what questions I could ask. Even if it was just like a first draft question, I could then obviously work on it to make it better. But yeah, overall, I think research went okay. It could have gone better for the reasons I've said. but overall I think it went okay. So yeah, the idea generation and pitch, I believe I've already gone over. So it's just this part. I believe I've already gone over this. I'll just go quickly over it now. So it was just stuff like what's the topic, stuff like that, like the main question. Where we filmed B-roll, as I said, done a lot in the butchers itself, but we also done time lapse of the general location. So this is just helping us identify, okay, what are we actually going to do? This is basically a storyboard in text. So instead of drawing a B-roll of butchers, we just wrote it down saying what we're going to do. The stats helped a lot identifying how we're going to actually show them on the screen. And then stuff like this, how are we going to tell the story of the documentary, show people's opinions. The main thing we tried to avoid was being biased, so we made sure to show every side. We showed the vegetarian, the butchers, the general public, even Peter. So yeah, I believe that went well. And then the pitch is here. I think we've gone over that. Excuse me. Right, the next thing is experimentation. This was probably obviously the most fun part. So I done a expository documentary of my own. I don't know how I can play this, to be honest.
Eric Book.
I don't know how. Oh, actually, bear with me. This ain't gonna work. Hold on. Right, believe me, it's here. Oh, I actually got it. Right, yeah. So basically, just done a expository documentary.
Better known as
I'll mute it. Just to help me get text going. Identify how I'm going to actually edit it, keep it flowing. It also got me used to. It sounds weird. Got me used to speaking in a documentary. Like I haven't really done a voiceover before in any projects in college. So yeah, it taught me just how to speak basically. I know it sounds weird. But yeah, so basically that's the expository documentary. That helped a lot because that was the first ever time actually editing a documentary. I know it was only a minute and 40 seconds long, but it just taught me how to make a flowing documentary, how to show stats on the screen, for example, his birthday, June 21st. Yeah, I think overall it went quite well. Then we have the typography experimentation. Now this helped a lot. I believe I used that. You just saw that in the Badland Chugs documentary. This helped a lot because this is a technique that I'm going to use in future projects as well. So it has that. I didn't really use that much. However, this part I love, and I didn't know how to do it before. So this is actually a very, very good editing technique to have because I did use that quite a lot in a documentary. And yeah, I can see myself using this pretty much in every project in the future, so that's great. One thing I would do, I know this is only experimentation, but I probably would make the text a little bit smaller, just so, maybe that's just a pet peeve, but yeah, I don't know, I think I'll make that a little bit smaller. But yeah, that's just nitpicking. I think overall it went quite well. I obviously done a reflection here, basically just summed up what I just said there. As I said, yeah, I'm guaranteed to use this in my documentary production because it adds character. As I said previously, white text with a black background is a bit boring. If I wanted to, I think one of the scenes I've done it in, I had a stock footage of a cow. I can't really remember. A stock footage of a cow getting murdered, getting slaughtered, and then I had that text effect. So yeah, I believe it adds character. It's better than just black background, white text. Then we done practical sessions on documentary techniques. So this again just got me. So this was in groups, so with me, Keen, and Joe. It got us familiar with filming. So we set up 2 cameras. I'll try and show it. Yeah, so this is in it. So we have one camera here and then another camera there. We use the 30-degree law, I believe it is. Which yeah, I believe. I think that went quite well. One thing I will hopefully do next time, like what I'll do next time, is as you see, it's a little bit dodgy. Like I think next time it needs to be a higher up because it doesn't really show. I don't know. I'd rather have just his like chest and up, not his whole body. I believe that would work better. But yeah, as I said, it taught us a rule on the 30-degree angle. Made sure setting up of the cameras. I'll definitely use this in the future when using 2 cameras. But for this one, we didn't, because we were in general public. So we didn't really want to use two cameras. Like if it was at home, then yeah, but just carry around two cameras in public trying to get footage is not ideal. Then we done the Adobe Audition session with Tom. This helped a lot because we done the voiceover in the room next door, and it had like a little, I think it was like a fan noise. And yeah, as you see, this isn't the exact video clip, but this is just experimentation. This is what I done with the actual voiceover though. I went in Audition, and this is like the buzzing noise, whatever it was, and yeah, you just paint over it and then simply clear it. And yeah, that we obviously use this in our documentary because there was a little buzzing noise in the actual voiceover. So yeah, I cleared that out, and then the sound was a lot better. So yeah, we've obviously used that. Now this one is of Reg, and I don't think this is gonna play. I need to preview it. So this just got me familiar with using
make them an offer.
Using the audio. So I had to record audio, and then sync it up with Reg's dialogue. I won't show you that. You get the idea. And then this helped a lot. Not necessarily for because we wanted to go for a more serious kind of vibe. We didn't really, like if I played this, I'll play it quickly.
Looking for.
So yeah, like
trying to open doors.
Like if I do that when someone's talking about like a cow getting slaughtered, it would kind of lose its effect. It will make it a little like more comedic in my opinion. So, but however, I will definitely use this for future projects 100%. So that's the end of experimentation. Experimentation's always the fun part in my opinion. Then we move on to the creation of the final outcome. Now, what I will show you is, I won't play it all obviously, but it's around 13 minutes long. And I think it went quite well. Like, there's a lot of things I would change, don't get me wrong. But I think overall, it went pretty well. One thing I do like a lot is when Adam's talking, the butcher. One thing I did like is we use a lot of B-roll, so he's talking, and then over when he's talking, we use B-roll of him preparing food, like stuff like that. Yeah, I'm really happy with how the final outcome turned out. One thing I would definitely change next time is I'd either try and get more footage, because I had to resort to, so this is an example of just white text and black background. Obviously, I would prefer to do a little bit more of like fancy techniques, stuff like that, but I didn't want it to be overused. I didn't want to do it every single text, so I kind of didn't do that. However, one thing I do want next time is I resorted to using just like screen recordings of what I was talking about. I would rather go out my way and try and get actual videos like of the events. So say I'm talking about Peter saying animal cruelty is bad or whatever. I'd have a video or like stock footage of animal cruelty going on in the background, not just a screen recording of what I'm talking about. I feel like it would have a lot larger effect if I actually use what I'm talking about. Like, even though it is harsh, I think it would make the effect a lot stronger. But yeah, overall, I believe the creation of the final outcome went to plan. It definitely went how we planned, near enough. And then overall, I say the main big target is getting enough footage and not resorting. So as you see, this is all stock footage, so even at the start, I think the main, obviously I can't go into a slaughterhouse and just get a camera and film it, but yeah, I think the main target looking forward is definitely getting more footage by myself and not relying on stock footage. I tend to always say that, but yeah, next project I really want to just make sure like 95% is just my recording and not just resorting to stock footage all the time. I want to make it a lot more independent. And yeah, I think that is really mainly the only target to set, is use my own footage. Maybe I could... One thing I did want to do in the interviews is... We only got 2 answers, so I couldn't really do it. But say King asked a question, what do you think of meat, right? And then... So I'd get half of one person's answer, and then put it up, and then do another half of another person's answer, and then put the other half back, if that makes sense. However, we only got 2 answers, so I kind of just went person 1, person 2. That's what I didn't really like mix them between. One thing, if we're going to do interviews, hopefully get a lot more, and then like clip them all together. So if that makes sense. But overall, I am actually very happy with how the final outcome went, how the whole project went. Looking forward to the next project, and hopefully that's a good enough evaluation.